Hello, everybody. How are you all doing today? It's Ophelia Dragon here from Atomic Monsters. Some of you may have watched me on my Twitch stream. Some of you may be finding me on YouTube for the first time. We're a channel that deals exclusively in retro and vintage toys and games and such. As such, I regularly stream Magic the Gathering Elder Dragon Highlander on Twitch on our Atomic Monsters Twitch channel. I'll put the link down in the bottom. This is going to be posted as a raw video because I still haven't quite figured out the video editing software. It's confusing me, but I'll get it. But our videos for a while will be just raw video. I wanted to talk today about Breya Tithe. I call it Breya Tithe Twister because the entire point of the deck is focused around Smothering Tithe and Time Twister effects, and I think Smothering Tithe, as much as I love the card, is pretty darn broken. This deck that I've been running on Magic Online since Tithe came out has barely lost any games in either 1 versus 1 or in multiplayer. Uh, I could say maybe one game I lost in 1 versus 1, and it was my own fault because I just returned to the deck after not playing it for a couple days, and I completely forgot my own build and thought that I was playing a deck with land tax in it, and I was playing assuming there was land tax and doing a whole bunch of silly stuff, and then there was like no basic lands in this deck and no land tax. um, that's the only 1 versus 1 game that I've lost, and I've lost 2 multiplayer games. Total number of games I've probably got in on this deck is about between 40 and 50. One thing that happens a lot though is because there's a bug with Smothering Tithe. If people concede while the Tithe trigger is on the stack, it will freeze the game, like you've seen happen right here. I've had a few games today in the last couple days where it hasn't frozen, and this is the first time that it's properly frozen in a while. So I think that whatever bug is causing that is mostly been fixed, but it must be multiple things because here we have it frozen again. But I'm in a winning position, so I'm not too worried about it. Um, let's get over to take a look at the deck. We'll come back later, and that won't have timed out. It'll just be stuck. I'll show you. Breya Tithe. All right. Now, I'm going to talk a bit about the general strategy here, and then the actual deck list as well as like budget options. Anybody who's used to playing Commander on paper will find that a lot of the cards in this deck are unattainable to them, such as Dual Lands or Time Twister, for instance. However, I'm going to say right now that for the most part, none of that really matters. I mean, it makes the deck run smoother, but you can come up with options for the majority of these cards that you don't really need. The heart of the deck is being able to tutor Smothering Tithe and get some wheel effects going, and then win simply because you have practically infinite mana. You have some pretty simple win cons. Revel in Witches will win you the game pretty easily. Um, Time Sieve is a pretty easy card to get, and it will allow you to make sure that you get that win. You can mechanize production on a treasure just to make sure. Blasphemous Act, I'm thinking of replacing with the 4 mana red sorcery that gives everything goad. I'm going to test that. I added it just simply because there was a lot of creature heavy decks I was running into, and I was struggling to always be able to find Deluge, and having access to both of them made a difference. But being able to, the goad sorcery also acts as a bit as a political card and a bit of a small time walk, which I think is actually relevant. Um, Basically, what you want in this deck is ways to tutor up Smothering Tithe and ways to make everybody draw a lot of cards. Our wheel effects of choice are Winds of Change, Wheel of Fortune, Time Twister, which can easily be time reversal, because honestly 90% of the times you're using it, 5 mana to spend for it is okay. Molten Psyche can double as a win condition. Memory Jar, and Time Spiral. As well as this deck uses Puzzle Box, which is not only good for triggering Smothering Tithe, but it's also an excellent disruption tool because it makes it really hard for people to plan their turns. Anvil of Bogardine provides card advantage while limiting choice because they have to discard a card. It also gives you no maximum hand size, which may be relevant. However, I've been considering testing Temple Bell in this slot. The 1 extra mana may not make that much difference, and the ability to control when the draw happens may be a benefit to you because you can then use it on people's end steps, and then on the turn you want to go off, tap it again to draw an extra card, and that might be relevant. So I may test a Temple Bell in here at some point, or you could run one, and then of course Howling Mine. The rest of the deck is designed mostly to dig for and enable the combo. There's lots of tutors. You can run whatever tutors you want. I recommend keeping costs down, using tutors that you can cast relatively cheap. That's why I'm using specifically these: Imperial Seal, Vampiric Tutor, Mystical, Enlightened, Demonic. However, there's no reason that Diabolic Tutor won't work for you. I think Idyllic Tutor has a place in here, and it might actually be more relevant than Fabricate. If you don't have access to all these cards, it's fine. I was running Prosperity instead of Minds Aglow, but that was only because I didn't own a Minds Aglow, because I don't often play Hug. But Minds Aglow is strictly better than Prosperity in here, simply because one, you're only putting in 1 mana to it if people want to counter it, and it sends off more vibes, which is important, that you are playing a Hug deck, which in some games will make a difference because people often leave you alone. Once they know what's up, though, then you're dead, or sort of. Minds Aglow, though, people often pay into it if they think that you're just playing Hug, or if they need cards, or if you're already going off with Tithe, then it's just plain better. If someone counters it, you only spent 1 blue. If they don't counter it, then you can dump a bunch of mana into it. Plus, in the game that I just played, and you're not going to see it because it's frozen, I used it with Paradox Engine. I tap mana, pay 1 for Minds Aglow, everything on taps, and now I have extra mana to Minds Aglow. So I was able to draw 10 cards with it and still have 6 mana floating, as opposed to just drawing about 7 cards and being tapped out, which makes a big difference as well. We have some graveyard control because you're not too worried about your recurring stuff from your own graveyard. I have Relic of Progenitus and Silent Gravestone. If your meta doesn't have a lot of graveyard play, then you can swap these for something else. Possibly even at that point adding in Jace, Baby Jace, or Snapcaster Mage, and those will take up slots that'll help you double stuff up. Might be relevant in your play area. I'm curious at the bottom if there's any changes anybody makes or anything anybody figures out. Let me know. But let's go back to the game that we have frozen. And just get out of this. You'll see that it's just going to be broken. We go to play lobby. Yep, see, still stuck. But we'll start a new game. See how it goes. This is a new thing I'm going to be doing regularly to get videos up. I'm recording on Twitch, so I'm streaming at the same time. But I'm not doing a normal stream. So on shows like this, you may hear me interacting with viewers if they say anything in the chat. But there's nobody watching right now. Things are quiet. While we're waiting for that, we'll look at the deck again a bit more. Other win cons include Disciple, card I'm testing, Swan Song. I had Negate in this slot, but I wanted to see if this may actually work better, just being a little bit cheaper. Though usually that little bit of mana cost doesn't make too much difference when you're trying to protect a combo, because usually at that point you have a lot of mana and are just effectively going infinite anyways. But I wanted to test to see if overall this makes my ability to protect things better. Any other tricks in here? Treasure Keeper is good. Lion's Eye Diamond is always good with wheel effects. And if you have any kind of draw effect on the board, in fact, Lion's Eye Diamond would be better with Temple Bell than it is with Anvil, as an example. If you have any other draw effects, Lion's Eye Diamond gets better as well. You can use it with top. If you know what the card is on the top of your deck, you can Lion's Eye Diamond and then tap the top, especially if you use the tutor. Paradoxical Outcome can act as a draw/combo piece as well as protect your permanents, as you can just simply Paradoxical Outcome to return anything that's going to be destroyed back to your hand. Crucible helps you get important lands back. I run both Strip Mine and Wasteland in here. They're not super relevant. You can get by with just the Strip Mine. I just like the redundancy and the fact that this deck can handle the extra colorless mana means that I could do it. But if you're playing in paper, Wasteland is ridiculously expensive, so I could see not running it. Scry lands would be good options in place of duels. They help you filter. But lands coming into play tap may cost you a turn of being able to go off. But it is a good budget option. Stuff like City of Brass and Mana Confluence would be good. It's very rare that your life total is going to make much difference. No Force of Will in here, simply because I find in multiplayer, it's not quite as necessary. If you're going to make a 1 versus 1 version of this deck, I would definitely stick a Force of Will and other cheap or free counters in it. You would want more counter spells. I'm using Expansion Explosion. It works as a good removal in WinCon as well as a fork. All three are relevant. You could use Blue Sun Zenith. If you're going infinite and manage to be able to just draw your entire deck, Blue Sun Zenith becomes better anyways. However, at that point, you may want to start running Lab Maniac. It'd be easy to put Lab Maniac into this build, but I think it's unnecessary because when you're going off, you don't need that to go off in such a risky way. It's just too stable without it, but you could try it. Don't be afraid to use your muddled mixture to get things like Howling Mine or Anvil. I actually just won the game that I was just showing you simply because I used muddle to go and get that Anvil and dig for more cards and set up for Smothering Tithe. Let's see how our game is doing. Nobody? Any games? Other games waiting for people? Let's join this game. All right. This is excellent. I will have 1, 2, 3, 4 mana on turn 2. So turn 2, I'm going to drop down Ristic Study and tutor for Tithe properly, probably. This is actually an excellent hand. Short of top decking Soul Ring or Mana Crypt, there's no way this hand could be any better. All right. That's nice too. All right, let's see what we're playing against. Reese, I usually check before I mulligan, but my hand was just way too good to worry about it. Dragon. Reese, I'm not worried about. Timna is often good deck, though I don't usually see him paired with Sidar. Dragon. I've seen some okay things, but that's not much to worry about. The deck we're probably worrying about here is the Timna. We're looking for possible enchantment and artifact hate from these guys. Sometimes 5-color decks are simply just people looking for an excuse to play a pile of 5-color good stuff, in which case there might be a load of silver bullet answers in here. However, usually when people pick Dragon, they're specifically looking to make a dragon deck. So, I have an upkeep stop set. We'll find Tithe for next turn. I imagine I should be able to draw a land off of Ristic Study, but it's not really necessary looking at this hand. Storm the Vault. Oh, that's nice too. I could use that instead of that and not take 2. I'm completely fine with that. And again, I'm going to be posting this as raw video until I can figure out how to edit video properly or can find someone who could do edit work for me. I'm not going to be able to edit out pauses in gameplay, unfortunately, but I would like to be able to streamline my videos so you're not sitting and staring at a screen of nothing, of people going to the bathroom or looking at their Facebook or whatever and ignoring the game. My regular stream time for Commander is every Thursday night. I usually start at 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Every second Friday, I usually run a stream as well, usually starting at 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Well, there goes my Ristic idea. That's fine. I'm actually really happy to see that because that means that that's an enchantment removal that's not going to be there to destroy my Smothering Tithe. That's a good draw. Yep. Fairly good chance we just win next turn. What we'll do is we'll see what I draw. Then I'll probably Vamp Tutor on my turn and then Windfall. Or I could just Vamp Tutor for a Soul Ring on end step. Actually, with treasure tokens, you don't have to worry about doing things on end step. You can wait and do stuff on your turn because it's like a Lotus Petal. It's not like you're gonna untap and gain mana advantage. You have the same mana advantage either way, depending on regardless of what part of the turn you use it in. Actually, think what I'm going to do is probably use this Vamp Tutor to get a Time Twister. So I will Windfall into a Time Twister. And as you'll see, had it been a Time Reversal instead of a Time Twister, it would have been just as good. Unless we wind up having some Artifact hate coming. And if our Windfall gets countered, I'll drop down this Anvil. That's my concern here, is that there's a negate coming. Tymna is so good. But he's going to draw a card and just feed me. Could also just get Swan Song. That might be right. I think I'm going to do that. Let's grab a Swan Song. And they might counter my Tutor, just to prevent me from finding a wheel effect if they think that's what I'm going for, which is also fine. This wheel is going to be for 7, because there's 7 cards in this guy's hand, even if this person counters my Tutor. All right. So let's go like this and this. And Windfall. And nothing. This isn't great. Strix, though, is good. You see, this is just ridiculous. 1 versus 1, it's still really strong. But in multiplayer, it's just flat out broken. Hi, Orcus. Just saying hello to Orcus in the Twitch chat. Hi, Orcus. I'm making a YouTube video right now. I'm doing a deck commentary on my Breya Tithe deck and doing some play. Come on. Some people completely forget they have to pay for each trigger of Smothering Tithe. Yeah, see, these ones are all his, and he probably stopped looking at the screen. Okay, first thing we're going to do is thin our deck a bit. We will get blue, red, so Volcanic Island. Play Crypt. Treasure Map is really, really good with Smothering Tithe. Play Crypt. Play Treasure Map. Let's look at the top of our deck. Don't need that. Put the bottom. Play Strix. Cast Diamond. I don't need these cards in my hand, so I can use the diamond here. Hold Priority. Blow up Timna. I'll draw some cards. I think 5 should be fine. Now let's draw 7. Blue. Blue. Red. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, 8. Let's make it 10. Done. Sack Lion's Eye Diamond for blue. All right. Oh, here we go. Play Mox Diamond. Discard Crypt. This is a good twister turn. Oh, we lost someone. Play Disciple. Time Twister. And the game's over. I didn't have an instant win right here, but I had really good ways of just setting up a win next turn. Puzzle Box would mean creating a whole bunch of treasure, so just Puzzle Box, Revel, and Riches would have probably been game. If not, they would have had to pick what they destroyed, the Smothering Tithe or the Revel and Riches. It would have been difficult. But I was there. That's basically it. That's how the game works. And thank you for watching.